Music video. How did you find the unit?
I liked it, but I don't know, I got a bit stressed at the end because I was like, I think it's more like with the bibliography.
Yep.
Because I'm not used to doing it. I'm like stressing to try and do it because obviously I want to get it right.
Yep.
So yeah, but other than that, I found
So you're stressed with the bibliography, okay?
Yeah.
Is it because you didn't complete it as you were going? You left it to the end and then it was panic?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Probably.
Do you understand how to half reference?
Yeah, no, I know now. So like, there are sometimes I have to say to Chloe, is that right?
Yeah.
But that's just because I'm not a confident person. I'll say that about anything.
Yeah, but also you can use an online generator for your Harvard reference, but obviously if you could learn how to do it yourself, that would save you time ever having to keep putting it into the online generator and so on. So it is a good tool to be able to use, and particularly when you go to university, you have to half reference all the time.
Yeah.
So if it's natural to you now, it'll become easier for you. And just get into the mindset from the beginning, the first time you start research, you know I'm going to ask you to half reference, and open up a Word document, have it saved on your computer, and constantly just keep updating it daily. All right? How did you find the rest of the unit? So the practical, the planning, etc.
I liked it because it was like different to what I did at high school.
Yep.
But like sometimes I was kind of a bit like I don't really know what I'm doing because I'd never done it before.
Yeah.
But then after a while, it kind of became like, oh okay, like gained a little bit of confidence.
Yeah, it's just making sure that you've got a clear aim. And I know I say it all the time, I'm like a broken record, but you need to make sure you know what you're trying to find out. So if you know lots about something, there's no point researching it because you already know lots about it. Research things which you're actually going to sit there and go, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And then that's actually going to give you, I think, because obviously sitting at a computer can be boring researching, I get that. But it's not if you're researching things which are of interest to you or things you didn't know. It should also mean, it should be like a bit of self-discovery. So always try and make sure your aim links to things that are gaps in your knowledge, okay? In terms of your research portfolio then, obviously this was the first one that you did, so there's going to be lots of things to improve on for everybody, okay? So primary research, you obviously did a questionnaire, which will be somewhere down here. Here, okay. So in your analysis of your questionnaire, you attempt to discuss how this helped, but it's quite broad, okay? So this will help me with my planning. You say quite a lot, but you need to say how.
Okay.
Okay, so let's find an example so we can look at it. So I asked people about their, okay, maybe not FCT, that's not a good one, that's not a good one. What is your favourite genre of music? I asked the question because I am making a dance genre music video and thought it'd be useful to find out how big the dance genre fan base is, as from my survey I found out it's not very big, okay? That's what you found out, but what does that say about your idea? Like,
okay.
Yeah? So in terms of that question, on reflection now, do you think asking that question helped you make a music video?
Probably not, but at the time I probably thought it did.
Yeah. But this is why when we've done the questionnaire this time, I've said, think about the type of answer you're going to get back and whether that's going to help you, because on reflection, with respect, whether dance is their favourite genre or not, you were still making a dance music video because that's what you was told to do. So you was always going to make one. So that question kind of wouldn't have helped you because whether they like it or not, you're still making it. Unless you said, why don't you like, or what is it about dance genre you don't like? And if they said, oh, all the music videos are always about partying, for example, maybe that would have helped you in terms of let's move away from the partying thing. But as a question on its own, that wouldn't help you. Yeah? Whereas a question like, what would you expect from a music video? That's definitely going to help you because it's going to give you specific answers about things they expect to see in a music video. So I asked people what they would expect from a music video. The most popular responses was to see the artist and storyline. From asking this question, I know that in my video I need to make the storyline of the video clear to the audience. By doing this, I should have a successful video, okay? So good, that's a step further than I'll use this in my planning, which was in some of the other responses. But go one step further. So how are you going to make sure that the narrative is clear, okay? Because they've said that they expect to see a storyline, okay? So you then need to be thinking about, well, what kind of storyline is it, okay? Because you said you need to make the storyline clear, but they didn't say they wanted a clear storyline. They just said they wanted a storyline. So you might say, right, this has actually given me another point of research. Perhaps I could look at some existing music videos and see what type of narratives they have. Does that make sense? Yeah. So the answers are always going to help you in terms of further research or giving you questions that you need to find the answers to. Yeah? Sure? Okay, so that was that. In your secondary research, okay, so throughout all of your secondary research, you've drawn some interesting findings. So, for example, at one point you said, from doing this research, I now know that in my music video I should try to avoid this theme, as there is clearly a gap in the market for better videos that audience will like more. This is really specific because you're identifying that you should avoid that theme because clearly they don't like it. So that's helping with your planning by knowing to avoid that theme. But now you know that, what do you need to do next? Because if you're avoiding that theme, what do you need to do next?
Yeah, come up with a different idea.
Come up with a theme, yeah? So you are on the right tracks, okay? And when I've said, because obviously with this unit I was planting the seeds and seeing where people went with it, okay? So when I'm saying, talk to me about how you're going to use that in your planning, like most, you've taken that literally. I'm going to use this in my plan, yeah? Because I've told you to say that. But what I mean is, unpick that. How? Okay? Does that mean, for example, that you need to think about a certain type of location or a certain character or a certain prop or a certain storyline or a certain theme? And do you need to do more research to help you with that? Or do you need to now say, often what some of the second years have now learnt to do is write in their research, having now gained an understanding that people expect to see, I don't know, a realistic narrative in the music video, we as a group need to sit down in pre-production and consider what type of realistic narrative we could use. So it doesn't call for more research, it calls for you as a group to say, hello, this is a really big research finding, we need to use this in our planning. Does that make sense? Sure? Okay. Obviously going forward, as we do more research, and hopefully you're seeing already with advertising, is that the type of research you're doing is also needs to fit into market, audience and production, okay? So most of the research you did was market research because it was looking at the existing market of music videos, okay? But audience is really, really key, as obviously hopefully now you've gained more of an appreciation for, okay? So understanding who that audience is and what will make them engage in your product, okay? But also going forward, and this is something that you can work on throughout the whole year, although I say to you, this is research week and it all goes on this page, there would have been times as you move from pre-production, production to post-production where you needed to do more research. So for example, once you decided on your idea as a group in pre-production, you may have needed to do more research. So for example, your group decided to do the party scene. What could you have done once you had decided on that scene in terms of research?
Researched parties,
Exactly that, it sounds ridiculous, but in terms of set design, what actually goes into a party? What goes into a college being broken into to look like they've had a party in the middle of the room? So you guys thought on your feet about, you know, graffiti in the board and that type of thing. But one of the comments that I'm going to make about context is, I think there could have been greater planning in terms of that party environment, and that could have come to research, okay? And now I know that's going to come to you being autonomous and thinking, she hasn't told me to do research, but I know I could do some here. That's the difference between the student's going to be a pass student, a merit and a distinction, okay? So you know research never stops. So at any time when you think, well, I don't know the answer to that, I'm going to find out, put it on your website, okay? When you get into post-production, if you wasn't sure on how to, let's just say, turn your footage black and white, or add some flash filters, whatever it might be, yes, you can ask, but also you could research yourself because you're going to learn that better. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah. In terms of the bibliography, which I think is down near the bottom, isn't it? Here. Okay. You need to make sure moving forward that your bibliography is in alphabetical order. Okay? Now, I know this is a time thing for you, which is why I'm saying make sure it's done from the beginning. You've structured it correctly, but just make sure it's in alphabetical order. Okay? In terms of your questionnaire, only ask questions which are actually going to help you. Okay? And in terms of secondary research, make sure everything you do links to what that means for you and your group. Okay? Moving forward in terms of research, which you can also do it in your either overall at the end or as you're going, is critique the techniques that you've used. So sometimes you may have been on a website or you've been on a questionnaire and it hasn't worked. And you're sitting there thinking, she's telling me to analyse it, but it's really difficult because I don't think it's a very useful source or whatever it might be. Say that, because that's going to help you work towards distinction, because you're showing that you're critically aware of the strengths and the weaknesses of the techniques that you're using. All right? In terms of pre-production then, now I know you was obviously poorly and so was I, so pre-production has been an area for everyone that we need a bit of work on, so hopefully this time when we do it, I'll be around to help people fill out the paperwork a bit better, but also you hope you're rating poorly, so you'll be a little bit more in control of the project as well. So just a few points to help with this one. In terms of the risk assessment, so where's your risk assessment here? I'm going to go here because hopefully this will take me to the slide that I need. Right, first thing in terms of presentation, okay?
Yeah.
Now you're smiling. What did I have to do when I put this up on the screen? Tilt my head to the side, okay? Think about presentation because when the EV comes in, this won't impress her if she can't read it, okay? Now, this makes it a bit difficult for me to explain, but if you tilt your head, you can see. On the first page, remember you had to identify 1 to 4 whether it was a risk or not. Do you remember that bit? On the first page, the risk
I
assessment.
was just so confused by all of it.
So what you do is, let's open this one so I can explain it to you. On here, you've said whether they're a risk or not, okay? You see this one here, which says camera, cable, grip equipment. That's a risk, okay? So what you then do is for any of these that you've said yes to, you then give them, where's my slide gone? Their own box here, okay? So the hazard number, it will be hazard 1 or whatever. You identify how much of a risk it is, 1 to 5. Then you tell me what you're going to do to make sure that that isn't a risk.
Okay.
Because it's not enough just to say, there's a risk people could trip over the cables. Well, great, but what are you going to do about it? Because you're doing a risk assessment.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do to make sure people don't trip over cables?
The tape.
Take them to the floor, yeah? So in here, you would say, there's lots of cables going across the TV studio. Persons to be exposed will be cast and crew. Action to take. All cables will be taped to the floor. You are responsible for that, and then you tick off when it's done.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Yeah? So you probably uploaded that document thinking, half of this hasn't even been filled in.
Yeah.
And that's because you need to make sure you're identifying those risks.
Okay.
Does that make sense now?
Yeah.
The other part is budget. Now, moving forward, again, another little way for you to work towards that higher criteria, okay, is yes, this is how much these things were going to cost, okay, but if you think about the budget for the whole production, okay, so cameras, lights, Mac, suites, etc., although you get that for free, there is a price list, okay, so in there, out there, and on the website, there is a price list for how much it would cost for you to rent those things.
Oh, okay.
So you could have that as an entire budget.
Yeah.
What you could also do is say, although the equipment is free because we're college students, in professional context, it would cost X amount to borrow redheads for a day, X amount to hire a DSLR camera. And you go online and you look at those costs and you put them at the bottom of your
I
breakdown.
didn't really think to do that just because
It's free.
it's free. So
Yeah,
I didn't
okay.
really think to.
But just think, moving forward, that's another thing that you
Yeah.
could do, okay? And the last thing is your call sheets. Okay, so on the call sheet, obviously this is given to everybody on each day of filming, okay, which you understood really well because clearly I can see that this is what you was filming on that day, yeah? But this comes from your shooting script.
Okay.
So whoever was your camera operator would have done a shot list, which I think was Cameron.
I think so.
Yeah. So what you do here is from his shot list, because it's the same headings that's on his shot list, you copy and paste from his shot list what's exactly being filmed on that day.
Okay.
Yeah. So then everyone on set knows it's scene 1. They need to go to that page of the script. Then it's scene 2, and it's this on page of the script. Okay. Then that will help you more with what's going to be needed technically, but also what's going to be needed in terms of costumes, etc. Because they'll be different depending on what's being filmed. That makes sense. Yeah. So there's some piece of paperwork which can't be filled in until other people have done theirs, and the call sheet's one of the last things to be done because that's like everything's all been finalised. This is what we're doing on that day, and you copy and paste from the shot list. All right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move to the edit then. What did you think of the final project?
I liked it, but I didn't really think mine was very good.
Okay, why didn't you think it was very good?
Because remember I spoke to you about how like I don't really like editing because I feel like I'm not very confident with it.
Yeah.
And you were like, I'll just mess around with things, but I didn't want to mess around with that just in case I lost all of it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to press any buttons. If I don't know what they do, because I'm so scared I'm going to lose all of it.
So this is exactly what Chloe used to say to me last year, okay? And what I used to say to her, you know that you're always going to have to edit something, okay? So remember we spoke about in your tutorial about doing some online tutorials each week to help you towards the final product. Also, don't worry about everyone else around you is doing, Okay, because I think what you did is you looked around and saw that Cameron was adding it's a nice quick pan and that type of thing, and you're thinking, well, how do you do that? Okay.
Yeah.
Two things: A, don't worry about what everyone else is doing, but B, everyone in here would more than happily say, here, I'll show you how to do that.
Yeah.
Because Premiere Pro is so easy. It's usually just a click of a button.
Yeah.
Turning footage black and white, for example, might think, oh my God, that would take ages. No, it's the click of a button.
Yeah.
So those type of things, don't be afraid to ask. Okay? Right, let's put this on quiet and I'm just going to go through some of the points that I made. So opening dialogue scene, good casting. I think you did really well. And in terms of confidence on camera for a first project, did really, really well. Then I would say though is be aware of what's going on in here. Yeah. So be aware of background noise. How could you rectify that?
It's, you know, the bit underneath you can take it away, but then if you did that, you can't hear my voice.
Okay, so how would we make sure we still had your voice?
You have to re-record me saying it or something.
Exactly that, yeah? So you record your voice in isolation and then you dub it in.
Okay.
As you do with when you was cutting to the beat. You need to make sure obviously that the clip you've got links to when you're talking.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you could always record that and then record your voice, but you need to be thinking about those background noises, okay? Because it's a distraction, okay? You avoid, as you walk into the college, you avoided recording in the reflection of the door, which was good because I think, has he gone into the college yet? Have I missed that bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think in the early days you would have just recorded in front of that and not even thought about it, okay? So that was good. As he enters the college, it's a nice over-the-shoulder shot, but then as he goes towards the door, you'll see now, nice over-the-shoulder shot. As he goes towards the barriers, the camera switches to the left. I found this quite an unusual angle to use. It's kind of a bit like, well, hang on a minute, how did we get from there to there? So just think, I know you wasn't in charge of the camera, but just think about the importance of when you're filming to stop, reflect, move on. And even if you're not the camera pressing, you still have an input, okay? Nico receives a text for the party and you're on the screen of the phone.
No, it's Nico texts me off my phone. So there's a scene where like Nico's texting.
Yeah.
And then the scene where it comes, it shows on the thing that's him texting me and it comes up on my phone.
Right, see that confused me. It looked like he was holding your phone. So I put here, think about the props that you use. But now you've explained that to me, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But because you don't want the audience to sit there going, oh, that's just her. Yeah.
Yeah.
They wouldn't think that because they don't know you, but as from a teacher perspective, because I know you, I was a bit like, well, why is she there? That confused me.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of the party, I would like to have seen it look darker. Like when he enters there, it looks really dark and it looks like it's going to be exactly what you'd expect from a party. But then when we go to the actual party scene, you've shown confidence in using the lights, so well done. But it doesn't shout party, does it?
No.
Yeah. So I like the way that you've edited the people arrive into the party. They arrive in different stages and it looks like the girls are rushing to the party, and it really plays on the idea that, you know, this is last minute and people are rushing to the party. So I really, really like that. And I think you had a look at the way that Cameron had done that opening bit, and that you then really, but you took that on board and you said, oh, I didn't want to mess with it, but you ultimately achieved kind of what Cameron had done anyway. So that was really good. Lyrics on the board, cuts and links to the visuals really, really well. But I think this is used a bit too heavily in the opening part, okay? So I think that maybe, and this is across all of the edits I watched for your group, there was a limit of footage. So then the lyrics are a good way to keep the music going, but it just seemed to be used a little bit too heavily in the opening stage. The zooming on the board at times is a little harsh. Now again, I know you're the camera operator, but all I would say is when you're editing, if you notice poor camera work, don't use it. So take more responsibility in your edit to say, I'm not going to use this clip. Okay?
I think we had loads of footage, but it was just with the same stuff. But then I didn't really know what else to film.
And I think that's one of the things that I've put here. I think the narrative, it needs to be stronger. So the love interest or the not love interest between the two characters, it kind of comes from nowhere, and that could have been a real strong part of the narrative. And I know Nico was quite keen on it not being a love story, but then it shouldn't have been there at all.
Yeah, Nico, I don't really know what he was thinking, because I kept on saying like, because when we went through the lyrics, he was the one that said, oh my god, this is kind of like a bit of a love song. And we were like, oh yeah, like, okay, well then the actual video doesn't have anything to do with that, let's make it like that.
Yeah.
But then like, we kept on, so me and Cameron were like, yeah, we'll do that. But then he kept on like talking about like KSI and stuff, and we were like, what?
Yeah.
And like, every idea that we came up with, he would be like, no, I don't like that. And we're like, but it's literally like 2 days till we're filming. Like, we can't change it now.
And I think you as a group really struggled with confirming that narrative. And all I'd say is it's hard, obviously, in the first project because you're new to each other and you don't want to be bossy and that sort of thing. But you need to take ownership, okay? And sometimes saying, right, hang on a minute, this isn't working. So constantly went, I was saying the same thing happened in his group. And I said, you haven't got a music video. So they sat down, they went down lyric by lyric and made sure that it worked. And I think that would have really helped your group if you'd done that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he just had an idea in his head of what he wanted to do, and then there was like no change in that.
And that I think that now in the end product, the narrative's really weak. Not they break into college, but not much else really happens.
Yeah. He kept on asking me, "Oh, why don't you have a party at your house?" And I was like, "No."
Yeah. The second hug, I think, needs to be cut a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Because it's so awkward. It's like he's just holding on to you and almost giving you a little tap. So it looks really awkward. Towards the end of the video, there's a point of view which works really nicely because it is obviously trying to suggest that people are a little bit tipsy, and that works really, really well. And we could have seen more of that. So we could have had a nice shot of somebody and then it switched to point of view, and that would have worked well to enhance the narrative. So in terms of this love interest, it could have been point of view of you constantly looking at him looking at you, and then
I tried to get him to keep on doing that, but he wouldn't do it. I was like, I said to Callum, I was like, do shots of me and Nico like keep on looking at each other and then looking away.
Yeah.
And he just wouldn't do it, and I was like, no, you need to do this because this is what the narrative.
And I think that was a
like,
shame because then the narrative was lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the set, as I've said, could have been better planned.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you did the best for last minute, but I think you always knew it was going to be in the studio. You always knew it was going to be a party. And I think as a group, you should have took more ownership in planning that set. Okay.
Yeah.
And that is a lesson that every single student learns in their first project because they're thinking that doesn't look like what it's meant to look like.
Yeah.
So as you move forward, the importance of set is so important. Okay. That doesn't make sense. The importance of set is essential.
Yeah.
Which is why in the second year, the first project is props.
Yeah.
Because they have not gained an appreciation for how important of what's in set counts. So you need to be thinking about the importance of props and the importance of location. The shots of Nico in the corridor are a little bit odd.
Oh, he went like, so we were like, because I said to him before, I was like, you're going to have to lip sync some of this song, and he was like, yeah.
But he just stands
and
there.
I was like, okay, so I said this to him like days before. And then I was like, okay, so you're like, do you know the song? And he goes, no, not really. I was like, oh, well then like listen to it as much as you can, so then you like learn lyrics.
Yeah.
I think I kind of like not took it for like maybe overestimated what he can do, because I listened to a song once and that's it, I know all the words.
Yeah.
But like maybe I just kind of think everyone can do that.
No.
And then it came to him like doing it, and he was like, he didn't know the words. And I was like, how can you not know the words to this song? Like it's literally so simple.
And that should have been problem solved, okay?
Yeah.
So one of the criteria that we'll go through in a minute is problem solving, and things like that shouts to me poor planning.
Yeah.
Yeah? Or lack of rehearsal.
Yeah.
Yeah? In one of the shots there's a camera bag. So again, you need to be selective in your edit. So I know you're saying you run out of things to include, but it's better to not have it there and have a repetitive shot because that just shouts student.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Right, okay, so in terms of diaries and reflection, your diaries are completed timely, but they're still a little bit too descriptive. So try and move away from this is what we did today and think more about the problem solving element.
Okay.
Yeah? So all these things you're telling me now, put them in your diary.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It isn't an opportunity for you to slate team members, that's not what they're for, but you do talk about the leadership roles or the issues of working in a team or, you know, poor planning, that type of thing. They're the things you need to be talking about in your diaries. Yeah? Just give examples.
Yeah.
Your overall evaluation is really, really detailed, and there's good use of examples, okay? So what I want to see you do now is at the end, compare your product to existing products, okay? And also, it's really important to use examples, which you did, but it's even more important to use feedback, okay? So we'll always do a rough edit feedback, so you can talk about that in your evaluation, but also work ahead of deadline. So when you finish your actual edit, you've got time to ask people for their opinions and then use that into your overall evaluation as well. So when you're making a point about the strength of your music video, you can back that up with something that someone else has said. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. We spoke about your bibliography, okay? You just need to make sure that you complete that timely. Your pitch, was good. You pitched with confidence, but the only issue was the synopsis, okay? And that's clear because in the end product, that synopsis isn't clear.
Yeah.
So when you stand up and pitch, you need to know your synopsis inside out, all
I
right?
think it just literally was that me and Cameron had an idea and we knew what we wanted to do, but Nico didn't want to do that, so he kept on trying to change it. And we were like, but we don't have time to change it, and I'm not being funny, but your ideas are rubbish.
So you need to have good, strong production meetings and resolve those issues, yeah? Good awareness of target audience. In terms of the website, have time to proofread. There's lots of lowercase i's.
I know, it doesn't do it, like...
And then on occasions, there's ties rather than times.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. So just have time to proofread it. And what you might want to do, because I'm a nightmare when I start typing as well, you just keep going.
Yeah.
Type in Word and copy and paste it in. So then all the spelling errors have been resolved. It sounds something really small, but it's a really key part of the presentation.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as I've said, music video alone doesn't cover the criteria for Unit 1 and 2, okay? That's why we're obviously doing a second opportunity, which is music video. But what I wanted you to have a look at is this is the criteria that, or the grading matrix. Now, this applies to every single unit that we look at, okay? So, at the moment, in terms of context, if I was only based on that project, okay, so it's your first ever project, so this is where I'm expecting everyone to be here, okay? If we're here, we're not on the right course, okay? And there's some elements of your work which were here, but not enough for that project to say you're definitely a merit, okay? But I definitely know you're capable of working here. It's just tweaking these bits to make sure that you get there, okay? So in terms of context, okay, you can see that it says here, good understanding and knowledge of subject context, okay? Now, you made a dance video, okay? Do you think that dance video represents a good understanding of dance music videos?
No, probably not.
No? Okay. So in terms of a good understanding of the artist and genre in your pitch and planning, but I think the set design and the casting let you down in execution, okay? So that would have helped you get there for context, okay?
Yeah.
In terms of research, your analysis in parts is definitely thorough and sustained, and it definitely has been used to inform and support and develop your ideas. But as we spoke about, not completely. Okay, because there are some occasions where you're saying that's going to help my planning, but you need to tell me specifically, okay? Which is why that element's really important. Because you can see there in the criteria it says inform, support, and develop ideas, which is why it needs to be there, okay? Remember what we said about the importance of in your questionnaires and in your research, only use things that are going to help you, okay? In terms of problem solving, we've spoken loads about all those things that you had problems with. Make sure that they're detailed in your diaries, because then you can show me that you've been decisive. Okay, because even if there are still problems, you tried to resolve them and you've detailed and told me what it is that you did.
Yeah.
Okay, but having shots of camera bags, okay, or repetitive footage, for example, that doesn't show me things have been problem solved decisively. Okay, makes sense? Yeah. In terms of planning, okay, obviously it needs to be coherent. Okay, so if we link back to that risk assessment, that's not coherent because you identified the risk and didn't do anything about it.
Okay.
Yeah? So your planning needs to be so detailed that I could pick it up and go and do it myself.
Okay.
All right? Practical skills, of course, have only just started, but eventually, hopefully, there'll be consistent and appropriate processes and skills and knowledge. So if we think back to that music video, that sound issue in the opening, that wouldn't allow me to give you merit because it's not consistent in terms of sound.
Okay.
Yeah, so we need to be consistent across all the board. All right? Evaluation. Really, really detailed in parts and, you know, effective communication of what it is that you tried to do, okay, and how your decisions link to your ideas, okay, but that needs to be more detailed in terms of using feedback from other people, okay, and examples in your diaries. So I can see how this is what happened and this is how it's linking to the actual project, okay. And then lastly, in presentation, confident. Stand up and tell me you know that narrative inside out, okay? And lastly, presentation of the website. Just think about your navigation, okay? We spoke about in your tutorial about tweaking the website so it looks a bit more like your personality.
Yeah, I didn't really know how to do it though, because I remember you saying to me make your homepage a bit more like you, but I was thinking, what does she want me to put on it?
Have a look at some other people's. But if you like the way it looks, then that is completely fine. Okay, I'm not saying you've got to, but remember in the early stage you just said it looks a bit bland. Yeah. So it could just be a picture or anything that just represents you.
Because I was thinking, should I put up pictures of me and my friends? Or...
No, because you want to keep it professional.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So I just think design-wise, obviously, it's just like this here. Maybe it looks a little bit out of place. Maybe put it in the middle or something. Just think about presentation. But also think about the navigation. So I'm on this page now, but if I want to get home, there is no home button.
Oh, okay.
All right, so it's those small things which will make it a lot more presentable.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
Does all of that make sense?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Yeah. Do you know what you need to do to improve?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're definitely, there's elements of where you are showing me that you have signs of working towards a high standard, okay? But obviously at the first project, I'd expect everybody to be here because we're only just touching the surface of things, okay?
Yeah.
But I think you're learning quickly.
Yeah.
And I think when I'm saying what you need to improve, I don't think you're just nodding and smiling. I generally do think you understand what you need to do. But think about what I've said about research, okay? So we're on that stage now for viral adverts. What do you need to do to make sure that you can show that your research is thorough and most importantly that's been used to support and develop your ideas?
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.